A 12-person jury reached its verdict on August 18, 1994, applying the principles of comparative negligence. The jury found that McDonald's was 80% responsible for the incident, and Liebeck was 20% at fault. Though there was a warning on the coffee cup, the jury decided that the warning was neither large enough nor sufficient.
Two cheeseburgers with fries and 2 large coffees.
Do you want medical coverage with that? I mean, ketchup.
Liebeck versus McDonald's restaurants, also known as the McDonald's coffee case and the hot coffee lawsuit, was a highly publicized 1994 product liability lawsuit in the United States against the McDonald's restaurant chain. On February 27, 1992, Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old woman, ordered a cup of coffee from the drive-thru window of an Albuquerque McDonald's restaurant. Liebeck was in the passenger seat of her grandson's car, which did not have cup holders. They parked the car so that Liebeck could add cream and sugar to her coffee. Liebeck placed the coffee cup between her knees and pulled the far side of the lid toward her to remove it. In the process, she spilled the entire cup of coffee on her lap and suffered third-degree burns in her pelvic region. She was hospitalized for 8 days while undergoing skin grafting, followed by 2 years of medical treatment. Liebeck sought to settle with McDonald's for $20,000 to cover her medical expenses. McDonald's refused, and Liebeck's attorney filed suit, accusing McDonald's of gross negligence. Liebeck's attorneys argued that at 180 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit, McDonald's coffee was defective and more likely to cause serious injury than coffee served at any other establishment. The jury found that McDonald's was 80% responsible for the incident. They awarded Liebeck a net $160,000 in compensatory damages to cover medical expenses and $2.7 million in punitive damages. The trial judge reduced the punitive damages to 3 times the amount of the compensatory damages, totaling $640,000. The parties settled for a confidential amount before an appeal was decided. A 12-person jury reached its verdict on August 18, 1994, applying the principles of comparative negligence. The jury found that McDonald's was 80% responsible for the incident, and Liebeck was 20% at fault. Though there was a warning on the coffee cup, the jury decided that the warning was neither large enough nor sufficient. According to the New York Times, the jurors arrived at this figure from a suggestion to penalize McDonald's for 2 days of coffee revenues, about $1.35 million per day. The Liebeck case is cited by some as an example of frivolous litigation. Frivolous litigation is the use of legal processes with apparent disregard for the merit of one's own arguments. It includes presenting an argument with reason to know it would certainly fail, or acting without a basic level of diligence in researching the relevant law and facts. That a claim was lost does not imply the claim in itself was frivolous. Liability for payment of an award of damages is established when the claimant proves on the balance of probabilities that a defendant's wrongful act caused a tangible harm, loss, or injury to the plaintiff. Once that threshold is met, the plaintiff is entitled to some amount of recovery for that loss or injury, compensatory damages. No recovery is not an option. The court must then assess the amount of compensation attributable to the harmful acts of the defendant. The amount of damages a plaintiff would recover is usually measured on a loss of bargain basis, also known as expectation loss or economic loss. This concept reflects the difference between the value of what has been received and its value as represented. The Liebeck case became a flashpoint in the debate in the United States over tort reform. A tort is a civil wrong that causes a claimant to suffer loss or harm, resulting in legal liability for the person who commits the torturous act. In common, civil and mixed law jurisdictions alike, the main remedy available to plaintiffs under tort law is compensation in damages or money. It was cited by some as an example of frivolous litigation. ABC News called the case the poster child of excessive lawsuits. Frivolous litigation may be based on absurd legal theories, may involve the superabundance or repetition of motions, or additional suits, may be uncivil or harassing to the court, or may claim extreme remedies. A claim or defense may be frivolous because it had no underlying justification in fact, or because it was not presented with an argument for a reasonable extension or reinterpretation of the law. Sometimes the plaintiff and the defendant are both found to be negligent, but the court allocates full responsibility to the defendant in the interest of policy or justice. Comparative negligence, called non-absolute contributory negligence outside the United States, is a partial legal defense that reduces the amount of damages that a plaintiff can recover in a negligence-based claim, based upon the degree to which the plaintiff's own negligence contributed to cause the injury. When the defense is asserted, a jury must decide the degree to which the plaintiff's negligence and the combined negligence of all other relevant actors all contributed to cause the plaintiff's damages. It is a modification of the doctrine of contributory negligence that disallows any recovery by a plaintiff whose negligence contributed even minimally to causing the damages. Liebeck died on August 5th, 2004, at age 91. According to her daughter, the burns in court proceedings had taken their toll, and in the years following the settlement, Liebeck had no quality of life. She said the settlement had paid for a live-in nurse. So where does frivolous litigation go from here? Was this case just too hot to handle? Stella Liebeck was not clowning around. And while some lawsuits have the winners walking under a golden arch, it's not always 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, cheese, pickles, and onions on a litigation bun.